Math Minute number 33. Number 1 says complete the times table to the right. So the first box, they want me to figure out what 5 times 7 is. Take a second to think about that. 5 times 7 would be 35. And the bottom right box, it's going to be 6 times 8. So think about what 6 times 8 is. That would be 48. So those are the two missing numbers that go in those boxes. Number 2 says 7 quarters, 3 dimes, and 1 nickel would equal what? Well, quarters are worth 25 cents. And if I had 7 of those, I'd multiply that by 7. And when I do that, I'm going to get $1.75. The next is 3 dimes. Well, a dime is worth 10 cents. And multiply that by 3. That would give me 30 cents. And then 1 nickel. A nickel is 5 cents. Times 1 would be 0.05. So now to figure out the total cost, I'm just going to add those 3 numbers together. So $1.75 plus 30 cents plus 5 cents. When I add those up, I would get $2. Actually, let's add that up. So 0 goes there, 1 goes there. Okay, that one would be 2. So that would give us $2.10. Number 3 says if a plus 12 equals 31, what's a? Well, to figure out what a is, I need to do the opposite. So if they're telling me to add here, I'm going to do the opposite, which is subtract. So I'm going to subtract 12 because I want to cancel those out. So now I'm just left with my a equals whatever 31 minus 12 is. And 31 minus 12 would give me 19. So for this equation to be true, a would have to equal 19. Number 4 says the sum of 2 identical numbers is 16. What is the number? Well, remember that sum means to add. So what number would I add by itself to give me 16? Well, one way to do this would be 16 divided by 2, which is 8. Now let's add 8 by itself to see if we get 16. 8 plus 8 is equal to 16, so that would work. So 8 added to itself would give me 16. For problems 5 through 6, use the number line to the right. Number 5 says, which letters represent fractions? Well, these vertical lines here represent whole numbers, so that line would be -2. This vertical line would be -1. That's 0. This would be 1. This would be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, the points that line up right on one of these vertical lines are whole numbers. And then the points that line in between the vertical lines would represent a fraction. So a falls between -3 and -2. So that would represent a fraction. C falls in between the 1 and the 2. So that's going to represent a fraction. And then the E falls between the 4 and the 5. So that's going to represent a fraction. So A, C, and E would be the fractions on that number line. And then number 6 says, which letter is located directly between the 3 and the 6? Well, the D is on the 3, the F is on the 6, so the E is exactly in between the D and the F. So E falls directly in between the D and the F, or the 3 and the 6. For problems 7 through 10, cross out the item that does not belong in each list. Well, 2, 6, and 10, those are all even numbers. And then 11 is an odd number, so that wouldn't go with the other 3. Number 8, 3, 7, and 13, those are all prime numbers. Remember, a prime number is a number that has only 2 factors, one in itself. And then 12 is a composite number. Remember, composite numbers have more than 2 factors. So like 12, the factors are 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. So 12 would be the one that doesn't fit with the other 3. Number 9, I got 4 different shapes. Well, this one has 4 sides, this has 3 sides, this has 4 sides, and this has 4 sides. So the triangle wouldn't fit with the other 3 shapes there. And then number 10, if I were to change these all to decimals, 65% would be 0.65, 2/3 would be 0.6, repeating. That's where you put the line over it if the number just keeps repeating. This again shows 2/3, so this would be 0.6 repeating, and then that's also 0.6 repeating. So 2/3, this little bar here shows 2/3, and then 0.6 with a line over it's also 2/3. So the 65% would be the one that doesn't go with the other 3. And that concludes Math Minute 33.